This is Out Loud and Laughing. What is up, chosen fam? Welcome back to Out Loud and Laughing. You know that feeling when you're cramped in seat 34B, sandwiched between a crying toddler and someone who hasn't discovered deodorant, while you watch those lucky bastards behind the velvet curtain sip champagne in a lie flat bed? Well, today's guest is the guy who's going to make sure you never sit in 34B again. He's a digital nomad who has hit over 60 countries, a point and miles wizard, and the mastermind behind BryGuides. He doesn't just travel, he hacks the system so we can live our best chic lifestyles on a cheap budget. Please welcome the man who is literally living out of a suitcase, but a very chic one, Brian from BryGuides. What's up, Brian?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
We are so excited, Brian, mainly because we share the same name.
I
I knew you were
mean,
going to say that.
we'd love to see it.
Well, no, thank you. Where are you now?
I am currently in Vietnam. I'm in a beach town called Da Nang. I'm set up here for a few weeks. It's a really lovely spot. Prices are right, people are great, food's delicious, lot to love here. And
And the Wi-Fi works.
thank you folks for joining at night your time and morning my time because the time zones can be a little tricky on these. So I appreciate you guys.
A man of the world.
Yes. Well, Brian, we are so happy to have you here. And also, like I said, I love the name. So thank you. John loves two Brians.
I do love to
So
Brian's.
we've been stalking your Instagram and we are definitely officially jealous of your life. But before you were flying business class to Dubai for $50, where did all this start? Like, I heard a rumor that it was a gay group trip to South America was actually the turning point for you. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so my background is I lived in New York City for many, many years. My background's in finance. I worked in finance and tech in New York, and life there and in that career was very intense. I was helping companies go public, so working crazy hours, and the only time work would leave me alone is when I left the country. So naturally, I left a lot. That got very, very expensive. So I was like, I need to find a way to save money on these flights and on this travel because New York City rents are not getting any less expensive. So income credit card points, and I go deep down the rabbit hole where I am figuring out what's the right card and points and different ways that we can utilize these systems to travel better for less. And so after my own obsession, I slowly started helping friends and family. And the turning point kind of came when a group of friends wanted to go to South America. We did Patagonia and then we ended in Rio for Carnival. So because of these nations and the dates that we wanted to go and we were booking a little bit late, the flights were very expensive. I think it was going to be around like $2,000. And everyone's like, you know what, I really want to do this trip, but that might just be a little bit too steep. And so I was like, hold on, let me see if I can find us a better option. So I scurried off into the internet and found some really great transfer options. And I said, hey, does everyone have, this many credit card points across a couple different carriers? And everyone's like, yeah, actually, I do. I was like, jump on this call right now. We're going to book this. And so we booked these $2,000 flights for, I think it was like 40 to 50,000 credit card points. And everyone was shocked. They're like, how on earth did you do this? I feel like I just stole this flight. And I said, no, this is how I book all my travel. How do you think I'm doing all this, guys? And they're like, you should really genuinely help people do this. And I said, okay, like, great. Let me chat with each of you individually and figure out what that service is kind of worth to you guys. And after, having those conversations, I realized, this is actually something that can and probably should be a business because there's a ton of people that are sitting on the credit card points. They want to travel better, but they don't have the time or the fixation that someone like me would have to really go deep down the rabbit hole or the desire to, right? Because people are busy, they have jobs, lives, families. And so what I do is I help people cut through the noise to get to their desired outcome, which is flying better and spending less.
And all of this has allowed you to, since then, visit over 60 countries. And
Yeah.
that's amazing. What an incredible opportunity. And so for a lot of gay men, travel usually comes with a safety check, right? We're Googling, like, are these towns safe? Are they travel gay friendly? My question is, how has your experience been navigating the world as a gay digital nomad, right? Are there places that have surprised you, either by how welcoming they were or how much they weren't?
Yeah. So I think in general, when you're a gay or queer LGBTQ plus person, travel comes with an extra layer of things that we need to do that other people don't need to consider. The safety check thing is
Mhm.
something that's really important. And before I go to a place, I always try to check the local laws and understand what is acceptable and what's not. Because there's also two different things. There's what the law is on paper, and then there's also the acceptance within society. And I find those two things can be a little disparate, where there are places where it might not be the most friendly on paper, but people have been incredibly kind and warm and welcoming. So there's a lot of, in general, what I've found is that people tend to be nice, kind, and friendly. No matter where on earth you go, I think that like a lot of times you hear stories and horror stories of, this, that, and the other thing. But I find the more I get out into the world and the more different places and cultures and people that I experience, in general, people are kind, they are good, they are welcoming, they are warm. But at the same time, you also need to be respectful of local customs and cultures. So there are certain places on earth, right, where you wouldn't want to be doing PDA, whether you are in a straight couple, whether you're in a gay couple, or anything else, just because it's not what's accepted there. There are places where it's totally fine to go running shirtless, which is one of my favorite activities, and other places where that's kind of rude and you should cover up. So understanding the local cultures and what behavior is and isn't acceptable there is something that's really important. So for me, I've definitely been pleasantly surprised most places that I've gone, with that caveat that, you need to be, somewhat careful. But as far as specific locations, I think like one of the most friendly, like one of my favorite places on earth is definitely Brazil. There's a
Mm,
strong, thriving kind of queer and gay culture there, particularly in like big cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. On paper, it can be a little bit like of a mixed bag and it's not 100% just like anywhere, but that was definitely one of my favorite places where I just felt completely at ease. Most of Europe this way as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really amazing how many awesome kind of places that we are able to go where we're fully loved and accepted for exactly who we are.
Do all the apps work in all these places, Brian?
Yeah, no, it's very rare. It's very rare that the apps aren't working, even in places where it's maybe not quite as friendly. Like usually the apps will kind of still work. So like even in like Morocco and different parts of Asia, like you can open the apps and it'll be working. And so there's other places like parts of Indonesia where it's a little shaky, but like you can use a VPN. But most of the time when I was in Indonesia as well, all of the apps were working. And the thing is, even when you go to places that on paper aren't the most LGBTQ plus friendly, LGBTQ plus people are there. We continue to exist. They just exist in a world that's a little different. You have a little more people that are, discreet or operating discreetly, but there are usually even like queer owned spaces and queer owned bars, and getting there and going and being on the ground and going and talking to these people and hearing from their perspective and what life is actually like has been some of the most perspective broadening travel that I've done. And it's actually drawn me more to these places that were like not supposed to go on paper, because the more time you spend there and meet kind, warm, welcoming people, the more that you can also have a positive impact on life in the community there. Because one of the things that I do when I travel is I try to become a regular immediately at establishments, because I am traveling solo. That can be tricky and lonely in its own way. And if I just go and become a regular somewhere, even if I'm having an off day, even if I'm feeling lonely, I go make friends with someone. And then I can gauge based on those relationships that I build whether or not it's safe to come out with like, my identity. And certain places I come out day one, right? And other places I'm like, let's like suss it out a little bit here. But when you're able to go be, yourself and be maybe a representation of LGBTQ plus people that they might not see all the time, I think that's helpful in moving the conversation forward in ways that you don't get when you just stay in your bubbles.
that is such a good point. So thanks for sharing that with us. We go into these places, but we also have impact where we go, like that real carbon footprint idea. But really, what I was thinking about was that's all good and fine. But really, here's what's on my brain. Uh, like you on an app in another country, like what a first date would be like. You're just like
Oh, yeah.
booking flights from Indonesia to France because you have points. You know what I mean? Like, what a great opportunity to meet somebody like you on an app. No, I'm just joking.
No, it's good fun. I think when I built this business, am a real tenet of lifestyle design. So it's let me figure out what kind of life that I want first, and then build a business and a life that supports that. So I think, the opportunity to, say I being flexible is something that's very important to me. I want to have the ability to do work from lots of different places and have the opportunity to travel and to do some of these things and follow the weather like a bird and avoid winter. These are things that were all kind of important to me. And so being able to kind of do that through lifestyle design and then like have a lot of fun in the process too, right? It's great, like, meeting people because dating is tricky, right? Because you're going to all these different places. But I think with the cons that we talked about of like, needing to do that safety check and doing all this other stuff, when you get to a place, you immediately know that you have community there. There's a group of people there that understand you
They
in depth,
exist.
that
Hmm.
understand the traumas, the challenges, the things that you've gone through in life in a deep way. And so I think it's such an advantage because I talk to a lot of other solo travelers and they have a hard time finding and building community. So naturally, what most people end up doing is spending more time with other Westerners that are in this place, right? Other people from the US and from Europe that just happen to be there. But we have such an advantage as gay and queer people that our community exists within the local places. And so you get to ingrain and learn so much more about a place because you have that level of access through this identity that is really special and amazing. And we also make it really easy to find each other through set apps. And then you get to choose whatever boundaries you want, whether it's going to be something a little more friendly or maybe more, you know.
Who
And
needs
there's
boundaries?
room for both.
There's
Who
room
knows?
for it
There can be
all.
and
There's room
outcomes.
for it all.
I mean, I'm taking a little bit of a turn because with BryGuides, like you're building this business that it sounds like a dream, and we'll talk about it. But we also know it's a logistical puzzle because you're always on, and like John and I with the podcast as well. Like it's not a 9 to 5, right? You're always doing it. You're always thinking about it, and now you have the added complexity of time zones. And so, what's the discipline for you to stay on while also technically being off? Like
Yeah.
how do you keep your sanity?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think you have to make whatever time zone that you're in work for you. And so I just try to think of it more as an advantage rather than like a disadvantage. Where I'm in Asia right now, which like transparently is a really tough time zone because I work with a lot of clients in the US. There's a lot of when I'm dealing with and helping service clients that like need help booking and doing things, it is tricky. So I structure my days such that my mornings are really intense and my evenings are really intense. But then I take the middle of the day off. I go for a run. I relax on the beach. I do all the things that like that typical digital nomad kind of lifestyle where you see it's like, oh, he's like drinking a coconut on the beach at 2 p.m. Well, yes, but I've been up since like 6 or 7, cranking away through. And then once you all go to bed on the East Coast of the US, then it's like I'm back. I take a little bit of a rest and then kind of kick off my day in the evening. So the big thing is my routine change my location changes, but my routine doesn't. Ultimately, I'm doing the same kind of healthy habits and lifestyles no matter where on earth that I am. And I just kind of pivot the time in which those are happening to be the most advantageous depending on what time zone I'm in. But it can be challenging because, right now I'm a one man show. That comes with challenges, right? I can't like fully step away. I've built the business to be like pretty flexible that I can step away for periods of time. But as the people that I'm helping and just the client inbound increases, that makes it, tougher to step away for long periods of time. So, but yeah, there's ways around that. I look to different ways that I can scale up and hire people. So yeah, that's lots of exciting fun ahead.
I have a quick follow-up actually.
Please.
Outside of just sleep, which I imagine would be the hardest thing to regulate across time zones, what's one thing that's also difficult that may not, like, be obvious to some of us?
Yeah, I think it's just like the little things in your routine because like when you get to a place, I have to like find my coffee shop. I have to find where can I buy mouthwash? Where can I get like toothpaste? Like where like because all of those little things. And I think when you travel full time like this, a lot of it gets lost in the glamour of like, oh, blah, blah, but you end up getting tired, right? And you end up
Yeah.
starting to like, planning that trip or doing that thing that when you have, like, your 10 days of vacation per year that you're, like, really excited for and you have months to plan, I mean, you put a lot of hours into, like, making that work, and when you're
Hmm.
doing that all the time, it becomes challenging to just manage the logistics of all of that, where it's like, "Oh, shoot, I have to, like, find somewhere to live next month," right? And then that starts to feel like, "Oh god," and then, you wanna put the time, effort, and energy that comes with that. So I would just say, like anything, too much of a good thing can start to feel like fatigue, right? And that's why, the way that I've structured this and it's been helpful because I'm building the business at the same time. So I do longer stints and slower travel, which makes this a lot more sustainable because honestly, I don't know how people do like the backpacking where it's like 3 days here, 4 days there. Like that is exhausting
Mm.
because it's just challenging on your body. I try like we joke about like changing time zones, but I actually try to change time zones the least amount possible. Like if I'm coming to Asia, that's really hard on the body. I try to stay here for at least like a few months. But it's different for everyone, but I'd say those are kind of like the little things, just the pieces of the routine and then managing the logistics of it all because you got to figure out transportation, lodging, food, like all of like the little things that you just take for granted, especially in, oh my God, like Amazon. Oh my God, do I miss Amazon?
Yeah.
I
The
don't miss
little
a lot,
things.
but like, oh, I had an interview yesterday actually, and it was at night, and so I didn't have the lighting in here is not what it needed to be. Fortunately, it's daytime, so I've got great lighting right now, but at night the lighting is rough in here. And I had to like go buy lamps, and I went to like 4 different stores. I had to buy different clothes because I didn't have like the right clothes for that. And it was a circus, and it was like a whole afternoon. But you know, the good with the bad. These
It's
aren't
true.
real problems.
I travel for work a lot, and I go to Asia, and I've gone to China twice, and I've only gone to China for 4 days. And so that really fucks with you. Like just getting there, only being there for 4 days, just starting to get acclimated and then coming back. So completely understand what you're going through, and I'm glad you're putting the months in, not the days.
Yeah, and China's tough too because I think like a lot of places, particularly like Southeast Asia, there's pretty robust like tourism infrastructure where
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people are speaking English. China is not that way.
I'm
And
lost.
I haven't spent extended time there, but even like all your apps like Google Maps and stuff like might not work. So
Nothing.
yeah,
You can't even
it's
pay with a credit card.
yeah, it's wild. It's
Yeah.
totally different, but it's cool. I want to go spend more time there. And now with some like visa regulations lightening, I think I might have the
Mhm.
opportunity. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Um, on top of all the challenging logistics and the constant moving and just, finding new routines everywhere you go, does it become lonely? Like, you started to touch on it a little bit, but how do you maintain a social life in these new places or a dating life for that matter,
Yeah. No,
especially when your zip code is changing like every 2 weeks?
No, it's definitely challenging, and that's why I really like to stay in places for longer periods of time. I find you're able to plant a little bit more roots and start to have a better routine. So there are absolutely days where it gets lonely. I don't think this is possible without having a really strong support system back home, which I fortunately do. I have amazing family, amazing friends who I'm 8,500 miles away, but they feel like they're in my pocket. Like they're always like I pick up this phone and they are there immediately. And I have really amazing friends and support system back home. So like I never feel like I'm by myself. And then it's little things that I have learned to do. Like I talked about it earlier, but becoming a regular somewhere where like especially in those first few days in a new place before you kind of like find your people or find your kind of community, that is so critical and crucial because just me going and kikiing with the auntie down at the coffee shop, who they teach me a new Vietnamese word every day. I learned hot boy yesterday. I forget it already, but like I have my coffee. I have my coffee order in perfect Vietnamese. Cà phê đen
You could do it.
cà phê đen đá com gun. There we go. We got it. So black coffee with ice, of course. You know.
Yes.
But it's those little interactions that can kind of really help you. And then we're so fortunate that with the apps and things that we have, it's so easy to find people and community, right? And then you get to choose what kind of boundaries you want to set, whether it's, dating, whether it's more social, whether you're looking for workout buddies, but you can find any of that, especially if you get good at setting boundaries for what you want. And there's, things like Tinder, there's obviously like Grinder, depending on what you're looking for, like different apps serve different
What are those
purposes.
options, Brian, that you're looking for?
I think you folks know, and I think your audience does too.
I was actually just gonna say because you mentioned something really interesting just now around like staying somewhere, finding something local. Someone told me this a long time ago when I was traveling, and it was basically this difference between a tourist and a traveler.
Mm,
Really being curious about the community that you're surrounded by, the place that you really immersed yourself into. And
Yes.
it's like a mantra that I've taken into a lot of my global travel. And I think that you were starting to talk about it. And I think it's so important. If you are traveling to somebody else's home, like while they are welcoming, you can also like learn a lot about them as much as they learn about you. So, anyways, it's really, really exciting to hear you give some of those tips to our chosen fam.
yeah, I think it's so important because so much of travel, especially in the age of Instagram, has become you go and you check the box and you take the picture and that's it. And everywhere that I've gone, the magic is always in the people that get you there.
Mm.
So it's taking that time to talk to the Grab driver, the tuk-tuk driver that is whisking you from point A to point B, talk to the boat captain who is bringing you from Instagram spot A, B to C to D and E, because their stories and their perspective is so refreshing,
Yes.
particularly because, you know, in the West and in the US, like so much of our like worth and happiness is based on like physical things and success in lots of different ways. And then when you step out of that and you kind of strip it down, you start to see the stuff that matters. And you start to see that like actually we're all like kind of the same. When you like strip all the nonsense away, we all just want to be happy. We all just want to be healthy. We want to love our friends and family. We want to live good, decent, healthy lives. And so much, especially right now, we're seeing like in the world and in the media is people being othered for like political gain and all this kind of stuff. And I think the best antidote to that is to just get out and meet people. Right. If you have like trepidations about immigration or things like sit down with a couple immigrants, your
Yeah.
perspective will change. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like people from Latin America are the most kind, warm, welcoming, amazing people on this planet. It makes me sick seeing what
Hmm.
we see. And I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but it's the if you wanna hate the world, watch the news. If you wanna love the world, get out and experience it, is a quote that someone told me, and I think that's, like, the perfect summation of it.
That's perfect.
Let's transition back over to BryGuides a little bit because what I want to get into is like for our chosen fam listening who are sitting on 50,000 Delta miles and don't know what to do with them. What is the biggest mistake people make?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that I see people do is redeeming their points incorrectly, right? So, the first one, it's kinda obvious, is not taking advantage of all the different perks and tools that your cards and things have, so
Yes.
take a look at that. I mean, a lot of times your cards will have credits and things like TSA PreCheck and travel insurance. So, like, people are buying separate policies and, like, your card has it, girl. So, like,
Hmm.
look at that before you do that. So take inventory of the cards that you have and what's kind of available there. Then I think the biggest kind of mistake that people are making is they're redeeming their points incorrectly. So, a lot of times people are just like doing cash out or getting gift cards, and that's totally fine and valid and definitely what you want to be doing. Like maybe if you're carrying a balance, you never want to carry balance with any of these cards. The interest payments are crazy.
Hmm.
So making sure that you are constantly staying on top of that is something that's really important. But I'd say when it comes to redeeming points, most people will do kind of the path of least resistance and just kind of book within their credit card tool, which is fine depending on where you're going. But if you are looking at long haul, particularly international travel and especially in business class, you're going to get significantly better value from your points if you take those points from your cards tool, transfer them out, and then book directly with an airline. And so a lot of times people have loyalty to a certain airline, which can be good, but then you're limited to that one airline's prices, dates, and times. And so what I tend to find is that it's better to earn in kind of like flexible rewards. And then you have the ability to take those points and transfer them out to dozens of partners, which creates a lot of opportunities. And that's where you can really get amazing redemptions for business class and start to get 3, 4, 5, 10x values for your points. And that's what I like. That's the main business. That's what I help people do every single day is take the points they're sitting on and turn them into better travel with these kind of robust advanced strategies. They take a little more work, but I'll tell you what, when you're sitting in a $10,000 seat for, $95 out of pocket, that feels really nice.
All right. So that is really, really helpful. I hope everybody is
Yes. Very.
tracking. Keep your pens and notepads out. But give us the truth, Brian. Booking business class for less than an economy ticket. Is this about timing? Is it about having a specific card in your wallet? Or is this or is it just about knowing the right person to sleep with at the check-in desk?
I mean, all of those are valid strategies, so I don't wanna
Correct.
poo-poo any single one. No. Uh, Here's what I say, when it comes to booking with points and finding great business class deals, the name of the game is flexibility. The more flexible you can be, the better, because unlike cash prices, they can be a little more set. So, like, there will be times where like I'm looking for a client deal in 2 months, right? And on Friday, there's a deal for 50,000 or 100,000 points in business class to fly someone to Europe. But then the next day they jump up to 350. So, and that might just be because one family of four came in and bought four tickets on the Saturday. But if you fly Friday instead, you can get a significantly better price.
Mm,
So I'd say
interesting.
maintaining flexibility and having some flexibility around your dates is going to be super helpful when it comes to booking these. If you're traveling where you're not as flexible or you are maybe traveling over like a key weekend, like a holiday or something, I would say booking out as early as possible is going to increase your chances of getting these amazing deals. So, like last year, I flew me and my parents to Italy on Emirates business class, which was like a really amazing experience.
Yeah.
But in the middle of July, there's one direct route from New York to Milan. That's a really tough ticket to get, especially at the right price. So the day or the week that it opened the year before, I was on there and like secured the bag, right? Because I knew that this wasn't going to last. And 2 weeks later, I checked again because my stupid brother didn't book in time and it wasn't available. We did find another way. So yeah, I would say like maintaining your flexibility is something that's really important. And then if you aren't going to be as flexible, trying to book out as soon as possible because in general, the deals get worse as you get closer to the dates. There are certainly exceptions to this, but that would be like a good rule of thumb.
I've heard a lot of going deep and flexible. So
Yeah.
hear you loud and clear, Brian. Honestly, I'm ready to cancel my mortgage and just live in Polaris Lounge after talking to you. I am a United guy. I live in Jersey.
Fun.
But before we let you go get your next passport stamp, we do have a tradition here at Out Loud and Laughing. We want to get into the nitty gritty of who you really are. When
Oh,
the
let's do
tray
it.
table is stowed and the cabin lights are dimmed, it's time for our little game. We like to call this or that, and we're going to call this one the Mile High Edition.
It's time for another round of this or that, the unhinged get to know you game.
Love it. Let's do it. Should I be nervous? Let's do it.
Listen, we give you two options. We love people to answer. We like a little bit of a reason why. Makes it more fun.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll start easy. Window or aisle?
Window. Looking out over the world is, yeah, there's something so special about that. I think there are a few things in the world that can give you more wonder than looking out of an airplane window. And why would you not do that? But I'm tall, so I get the argument for aisle, but no, window.
I get aisle because I pee all the time.
Totally valid. Yeah, if you are one of the bladder girlies, like
Yes.
have fun, girl. But yeah, that ain't. But to each their own.
I booked the aisle because I'm 6'1" and I'm not using my points right, and so I'm all the way in 34B, as you heard me in the beginning.
Let's chat.
We will chat. I will slip into your DMs.
No more of that.
No more of that. Are you into more of the scruff or the smooth aesthetic?
I don't. It's hard to choose. If you're gonna make me pick one, I'll go with smooth.
Yeah.
But I'm an equal opportunity lover. I don't have any hangups.
Just men.
Yeah, that's what I say. Especially like you get to meet men from all different communities around the world. I don't know that many people can.
Yeah, and what a gift that is. So it would be a shame if I, didn't take some advantage of that, right?
You're just checking the boxes. I love it. That's what I'll say to that. Okay. Do you prefer, going back into travel, do you prefer the lounge buffet or the in-flight meal?
I'm gonna go lounge here just because it
They've
can
gotten
vary though.
better.
Yeah, if you're on a really solid carrier and they have amazing food, like Emirates, I would probably pick the plane over a lot of things. But the lounge, they just have better infrastructure, right? It's more fresh. It's delicious because like they're not whipping stuff up in a wok on a plane, right? It's coming out of the microwave. So
It's also self-serve in a lounge.
yeah,
Which is
yeah.
nice. You can pour
And
what
you
you
got
want.
yeah. But that's tough. I mean, they're both great. But ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you are on a flight with a baseball team and they land in their destination city and they need a player. Are you going to be the pitcher or the catcher?
Why not both?
I like that, right? Stay versatile. You never know where you're going to land.
At the same time, Brian?
There's time and space for both positions.
I love it. You don't need points for that, y'all.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
Exactly. Okay, this one's interesting because when I travel internationally, sometimes this doesn't exist, but a shower or a bath?
I'm probably team shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough though. Like that's what I do every day. There's a time and a place for a bubble bath. If you are in a luxury hotel and there's a view,
Yes.
just be in that tub every single time.
Mhm.
But day to day, I don't know. It's so much work. You got to fill the tub and then I don't know. I'm an efficiency person. So like team shower, unless I'm in like a luxe spot with the right tub setup, then like catch me in the tub.
You're making me want to change my answer now to showering with the team. That's
Period.
I like this. I like where
We're
this is
still
going.
with that baseball team.
I couldn't get off the field fast enough, Brian. Are you a chest guy or a butt guy?
Again, why do I got to pick? But if I had to pick one, I'll go with chest. But
Yeah.
yeah, oh, that's a tough one. That was actually
Well,
very difficult
we
to
keep
choose.
saying after heated rivalry, but now like kind of
Oh
rises to the
man,
top a
yeah,
little bit.
Connor. What a that
That was a
man.
work of art.
That
Is a
Oof,
work
man.
of art.
carved out
That's
of cream
yeah, and he's like
cheese.
creative and nice too. What like total package.
It's so
Just
Yeah.
wonderful. The
funny.
more I get to know
Yeah.
him as like a celebrity, the more I'm excited to watch him just continue to do amazing things. But
Yes.
boy, did they Jacob Tierney, we salute you.
We
Yeah.
Woo!
salute.
Jacob Tierney, we salute you. Thank
Yes,
you for
ma'am.
all of
Thank
your
you.
work.
Salute,
Yes.
worship, call it what you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
that show. The things that made me feel emotionally, oh my God, the ugly crying that happened,
oh, yeah.
just remarkable television. And what a breath of fresh air
To
We
that
didn't
cry
even
and have a
kiss.
hard on at the same time
oh,
is like genius.
City
That was
Hall.
me in high school, Brian. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me in therapy. Me in
Yeah.
therapy
Oh
now.
my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Okay.
Truly.
Do you prefer solo travel or group trip?
Um, God, that's hard. I'm gonna go group trip just because I love doing stuff with my friends. And I think I do a lot of the solo travel. So like right now, the group trip is feeling
I
like a
need.
nice to have.
Yeah.
But I would say like I couldn't be on a group trip all the time. Like a group trip for a couple days, like a cute little Fire Island Kiki or like Provincetown, or you're zipping down to Mexico with a group of gays and having a blast. But after 4 days of that, I'm like, get me away from you all. I love you, but I need my me time. And I'm like very extroverted still, depending on the friends and depending on the
Yes.
intensity of said trip. After a few days of a group travel, I need some me time.
Great answer. Okay, next one is no points involved, and this is preferential only. If you had the option, would you be taking the red eye flight or a 6 a.m. departure?
Red eye. But I am not a morning person. I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
I hate waking up early. Nothing throws my day off more, and I don't have any problem sleeping on planes. So I would
Lucky.
rather take the night and do that because the other thing is I'm also really kind of militant about my time and like if I just use the plane time to sleep, then I can get to where I am and have like a full day of working and doing things or exploring. So I'm all about like what's the most efficient option. And there's nothing I hate more than just like waking up at 4 a.m. and having an alarm because like yeah, it's because then I'm stressed out and I don't sleep at all like the night before because
Oh,
I'm stressed about
100%.
missing the flight.
Yeah.
Whereas like I am more of a night person, so I'm moving and grooving and like getting things done. But yeah, I have like my whole routine when I'm doing nighttime flights where I cut down on my caffeine. I prepare myself a little glass of red wine before, so it just knocks me right out.
A
But
little
yeah,
eye patch or two, the
yeah. If,
mask.
if you don't sleep on planes, I totally get that. But
I do not.
I've mastered it. Yeah, it's important in my life that I figure that out.
Okay, whether you're on a plane or in Vietnam right now, are we wearing briefs or just commando?
I'm usually wearing briefs or some kind of underwear, but there's a time and place for that. Sure.
Of course.
I know. Commando, really? Are we still doing commando? Is that a thing still these
Some
days?
people like to air it out, I think, and that's
I mean, well,
okay.
then I don't know that briefs is their problem. They probably need a doctor. Okay, Brian, this is your last one. A one night stand in a foreign country or a long distance relationship?
Oh, I have to pick.
Oh, we struck a
Jesus.
chord. We struck a
Oh
chord.
no.
You could do both depending on the relationship, long
I was gonna
distance,
say,
and the
yeah,
rules
forget
in
all those
place.
no's. Oh God. I would say like right now, I'm probably more in my one night stand era, but I think
Hell
the
yeah, get
long
it.
term version of me prefers the long term relationship. But I think there's times and spaces for both. I think in my current lifestyle setup, relationships are a little tricky at the moment, so I'll have to lean slightly towards the one night stand.
Well, we definitely wish you the best adventure on whichever destination you end up, whether it's for a night or for a lifetime. But, Brian, I have to say that this has been an absolute blast. And thank you for teaching us how to see the world without going broke. Now, please tell our chosen family where they can find you to either book a consultation or just simply thirst over your travel photos.
Well, there's no shortage of all of the above on my Instagram. So it's at BryGuides, BryGuides. That's the best place to find me. And then from there, you can link to BryGuides.com where I have links to how to, I can find you credit card points deals if you have a trip upcoming, or you can book a one-on-one consult there. So, but I'd say start on Instagram. That's like, that's my operating hub. And from there, you can find everything else.
Amazing. Thanks for tuning in, Chosen Fam. Remember, go follow Brian at BryGuides. Get those points up, and we'll see you next week. Stay loud, stay laughing, and for God's sake, stop paying full price for flights, guys. Bye.
Bye. This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.